That said, I will say, Tengo el pelo, la de noche via, pelo que horror,
Oh my goodness.
pelo muy largo. No me pregunte, no, yo solo sé que soy un tipo como vos, con el pelo largo, dulce. Dime pelo largo, radiante pelo, brillante, cognate, vicenteante. I can't remember the rest of it now. Okay, I lose it.
You know, people were complaining about you singing that last song. Now it's like gonna.
Yeah, they're gonna really hate this, so I have to finish it now. Dime pelo hasta aquí, que me llego hombre más, aquí nena, aquí mama, por todo gente tengo pelo. They're gonna really hate that one.
You what I told a DVD trader.
What's that?
Don't ruin the Spanish language.
That door's been closed. I ruined it long ago.
I tweeted him. I saw his list and I go, you're ruining the Spanish
Just
language.
merely trilling my R's makes me a dork.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Vandal Drummond.
I'm Mexican and I try not to do a lot of the Mexican like stuff because when you watch the TV shows, they'll do like the Mexican anchor.
Yeah.
They always like speak very like Spanish, like very
Right.
very very Spanish. It's like, and it sounds weird when they do it.
And that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's Fredo Esparza. And this is Vandal Drummond, probably the worst cantadora ever to be on a podcast. And we have a ton of news. There is so much going on in Lucha Libre, and Fredo has most of it at his fingertips, up to his ears. He's looking at it, hearing at it, feeling at it. What's going on, Fredo?
Nothing much. Just kidding. The Harlem Shake is the big story.
It's a thing to do. Now,
Kurt hasn't seen. Can you believe this? There's some of you guys have probably seen the Harlem Shake, probably tired of it. Kurt today was the first time he actually heard and watched the Harlem Shake.
it's true.
1 month later. I think it was 1 month basically that it's first started.
It is true. And the best part about that is, since I never heard of it before, the first version of the Harlem Shake I've seen was the CMLL version.
Yeah.
And it was bitchin'. And it was bitchin' than any other version that I've seen, because Fredo showed me a whole laundry list of Harlem Shakes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to rewatch them. I had to relive the 3-day craze of Harlem Shake.
Yeah, so post Gangnam Style.
Yes. It basically was like Gangnam Style, then all of a sudden Harlem Shake.
Yeah, but whenever I heard Gangnam, I just kept... It sounded so much like gangbang, and I'm like, whoa, not cool. Not cool.
That's what I thought first. I was like, what are they talking about? Then all of a sudden you hear about, oh, okay.
Yeah, I had these...
What is that anyways? What is Gangnam?
I have no idea.
Looks like a Gangnam.
You're asking me, remember?
Yes. Oh, that's right. You're the
I am the isolationist.
Hey, you stole my gimmick.
Fredo just proclaimed himself the isolationist, which will also, by the way, be the next incredibly strange wrestling mask gimmick. The isolationist, who wants to wrestle himself and nobody else. Well, I have one word. No, not one word. I have one name. Amapola.
Amapola, yeah.
I have a huge crush on Amapola.
Every LuchaWorld podcast, we have like a crush on someone.
Exactly. And I'm talking specifically about her hair versus hair match with
the Leyendas show.
Yes, Estrellita
happened March 15th.
Awesome.
Actually, the day we did the last podcast.
The last podcast.
So a couple of people asked me, they were like, "So you did the podcast that day?" I go, "Yeah, you know how it goes. you can't really schedule a podcast when it's like two people. It's hard to schedule a podcast because somebody's always busy. Or
yes,
you got to find the right time." And so we did it that day.
We do it when we do it, and I'm going to quote Story Salon, who says, "Never apologize for your art."
Yeah.
So we're not going to be broadcasters. We're not going to be podcasters. We're artists.
Yeah.
Damn it. No, several things about this.
Actually, it was a good show overall. The whole thing. From top to bottom, it was a really good show. For a show that nobody expected to have a big
right,
because there wasn't a superstar main event guy. mid-card guys who were headlining. And I mean, it drew really well, like 12,000, I think,
That's
somewhere around that number.
Good.
Yeah, for a promotion that's been...
been
if you
on
watch,
the ropes, no pun
yeah,
intended.
if you watch some of the like Tuesday and Sunday shows, there's maybe like a couple of hundred people in the arenas.
And what's funny is the recent CMLL stuff I've watched. I don't know if I just watched the best of, but the luchadors all seem pretty fired up. They seem like they're, maybe they're just better workers than I think, but they seem like they're motivated these days.
Yeah, they're really there's always at least one good match in CMLL. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a, like, there's so much of it going on.
Yeah.
That it's hard to... I think it burns people out.
Now, Amapola, while she was the star of this match...
And Steve Sims has to grow a mullet. That was right. There was a wager. Tell the people about the wager. Yeah, so when they announced that Amapola was wrestling Estrellita, Steve tells me, I think Amapola's going to win. And I go, are you really sure Amapola's going to win? Because, I mean, Estrellita... first of all, she's been on a TV show, that Luchador, whatever that show's called, and she's never lost. I don't think she's ever lost her hair, and she doesn't look like the type of woman that certain women just aren't going to drop their hair.
Right.
And so I thought Steve seems a little too confident on the Amapola side, so I told him, you know what? Let's make a friendly wager. Loser grows a mullet.
And you were in Amapola's corner, and he was...
No, he was in Amapola's corner. I was on Estrellita's corner. I gave him the
I'm going dyslexic on you.
I gave him the better worker.
Yeah.
But I went with the one that I pretty much figured wasn't going to lose her hair. I mean,
yes.
Considering Estrellita's like in that sexy star kind of group of women that's not really going to shave her head or anything.
Yeah, and...
very rarely does a woman like that.
I think Amapola did a much better job than Estrellita did. How do you say, the despondence she had when she shaved her hair.
The match itself was really good.
It was a really good match.
I think Amapola just... I mean, I don't think it was the best Estrellita match, though, because I think she had one last year that was a little better. But it was also like a 10-minute match, too. So it's like that was probably the best... Because Estrellita in a really long match doesn't really...
No. And she's obviously...
And that match, you kind of noticed that.
Even if I had never seen her before, the first thing I'd think is... she needs to be carried.
Yeah.
And Amapola was...
the perfect person to...
Yes.
There's really only two heels that can carry her. Amapola or Princesa Blanca. And I don't think Princesa Blanca can carry her at that level.
No, and the perk I want to give Estrellita is when I watch her, she really tries hard. And she does pretty well considering there's so many...
She doesn't miss her drop kicks by a mile. Lunamihika.
But there's a lot of basic things that she does wrong, but it does not ruin the match. Like, every time you see her run into a corner or get thrown into a turnbuckle, she takes 6 or 7 steps, which is just a very basic... You don't do that.
Yeah, the thing about, like, even, like, Estrellita, like, if you watch WWE divas, especially now, where there's very few...
Yes.
When you watch them... and they're so inexperienced, when you watch them, and then you watch Estrellita seems like 100 times better.
Yeah. She's
even like Lunamihika looks better than the...
Estrellita is the little diva who could.
Did you watch Raw this past week? Caitlyn?
No, I did not.
She did like the spear where she basically hit the ring, the side of it.
Yes.
The outer part of where there's like a... what's that called? The side where they keep the
canvas.
Whatever it's called. And she spears her opponent, and she hits the thing, and it practically looks like she's going to break her neck.
Oh,
and I was like,
man.
I was just laughing like, oh my gosh, she's going to break her neck.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I kind of, I know before we've kind of bitched about how redundant some of the women's matches can get, but we should slap ourselves for that, because even the less talented ones work hard and pull something pretty...
They do some pretty bad stuff too sometimes, though.
Yeah, but nothing like the divas. I mean, nothing like that, or even a good share of the indie girls here in this country. And there's other things. I mean, Estrellita, her punches, her kicks they're worse than mine.
Estrellita's?
Yeah, they're even worse than my punches.
Estrellita's horrible.
But you know what? She does pull off some good stuff, and she does.
I like her and all, but she's not very good.
But she's got work ethic. I mean, she really tried, and she's not shy about bumping. I mean, she's not good, but considering. Do you know anything about like who trained her or how long she's?
We can look it up.
But the reason I'm curious.
I'm talking while I look.
No, because I can keep talking about this. Somebody who there's these basic things that she doesn't do correctly, yet there's a lot of moves she pulls off quite nicely, and usually that doesn't happen.
That's the thing. Like even Lunamihika. Remember, I think there was a match that we talked about on a podcast where I told you that for like about 2 minutes. It was like the best of Lunamihika, and then all of a sudden she went back to being horrible.
Yes.
She was using like some of the stuff she must have learned in Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looked really good, like because she did the spot where Otani used to do, where he would like kick the girl in the face, running kick towards the girl's face on the corner. Corner. Well, not Otani would kick the guy. But
and her little body presses and topes. I mean, they look so awkward. They're not really done right, but. She goes for them, and for all her faults do not ruin the match. I mean, it came off wonderfully. The one part where I got really...
She was trained by Ringo Mendoza.
No.
Robbie Hari gets his revenge on you.
No, Robbie Hari, you do not get your revenge. Ringo Mendoza rocks. Estrellita rocks.
She was trained by El Hijo de Gladiador, Ringo Mendoza, and Gran Apache.
I miss Hijo de Gladiador.
Yeah. Her family was Rafael Baradas, Flama Solar. Oh, isn't that the guy? Yeah, is that the dude? Oh my God, that's the dude that used to email me, I think. Oh yeah. And Psychosis AAA was her former husband.
No way, really?
According to Lucha Wiki, which could be right or wrong.
Yes. Is it kind of? Yeah, I know it's usually right, but there are times when they're kind of the Wikipedia of...
You're insulting the customer. No, you know what happens? Sometimes we get something wrong.
Yep.
They'll get something wrong, and you just have to tell. You just have to let people know, and they'll fix it.
The one time when I was a little nervous is when Amapola did that tope onto Estrellita, and I was just hoping, I hope Estrellita does know how to catch properly.
Yeah.
And when she did, I couldn't tell if she did it right or not, but nobody was harmed.
Yeah. Something must have happened during the match or before the match where Amapola looked kind of pissed at the end. Because that was like far beyond, because she's been doing that a lot, like when she does interviews now, like on the Terra.com show, she'll do a lot of like shoving the cameraman, doing a lot more.
Oh my God.
She's been far more, like in the last 6 months, she's become far more aggressive as a heel.
But you know what?
She wasn't like
that. Was such a great spot is when she was shaving her own head, and then the cameraman is on her, and she shoves the cameraman.
Yeah, she's been doing that a lot.
That is great. Yeah. That might just be her being a great heel.
Yeah. It comes off, like, because she was overplaying it so much, that it kind of took away some of Estrellita's thunder, because she was the one that won.
Yes.
But, I mean, you wouldn't think she won. Because I think that's when people booed her, because people would have booed her anyway, but they kind of booed her more because Amapola was playing to the crowd.
Well, and yet that furthers what you say. That further supports what you say, because she twice got up on the turnbuckle holding up her hair.
She was like, and
she got such a pop from that crowd.
Yeah, so it was...
I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah. She did. No, she's never lost her hair. See, I told you. Mm-hmm. There's certain people, and that's why when Dr. Lucha told me that, I go, no, there's no way. Very few of the better looking luchadoras very rarely drop their hair. I mean,
it's a rarity.
Lady Apache's an exception because she's basically always pregnant. So I think she always needs money. And then the biggest surprise was with Diana La Cazadora, who, if you look her up, very attractive woman. She also had a job in Monterey on a TV show in Monterey. And when she lost her hair, people were really shocked. Because, I mean, she doesn't look like the type of person that would drop her hair. So
it's pretty much a standard...
it's the certain person is always the one that's always going to end up dropping her hair.
Very different from the male wrestlers.
Yeah, the male where you never know. Diana La Cazadora.
And I've seen that picture of her before.
Yeah.
She is a cutie.
Yeah.
She is a cutie. But
Have you seen the
Amapola
fitness
is my
videos?
girl. I have not seen them. No, I want to have Amapola's baby.
Here's the surprise. Guess who she lost her hair to? Diana La Cazadora.
She lost it to herself?
To Amapola.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
That should tell you even more of a surprise.
Yep.
Yeah, Amapola's lost it quite a bit.
She's kind of like the Carbonario Galindo of lady wrestlers. How many times did that guy lose his hair?
6 trillion.
It's something like that.
But
Very,
Amapola's
very
lost
rarely.
it 3 times. Lost it to Dark Angel also.
Well, she is cool. She is
We should
cool.
just do a show based off us searching
We just
Lucha Wiki.
we could do that. We'll call it Lucha Wiki Hour, the unofficial
Lucha
Lucha Wiki. Thank you, Lucha Wiki.
Not a lot. They have a few of them.
Had I known,
He lost it a lot to like Karloff Lagarde, Blue Demon, Santo. Ooh, it's a fly. La Mosca is in the house.
La Mosca de Walnut Kills.
Yeah. Yeah, but I thought it was a good match. I mean, considering the limitations.
Yeah, no, but to me, that's what a supreme worker is, as a person who has a situation where there's limitations, and instead of just accepting that, oh, this is just going to be okay, she worked her butt off to make it work, and it turned out to be a really good match. I enjoyed it a lot.
And to think it was the 3rd match on the card.
Wow.
That was the other thing. Because the following match on the card was the Rayo de Jalisco tribute, the
Yes,
special attraction. You haven't seen that, right?
I've seen the clips of it on Galavision.
Well, that's right. They aired at the end of the clip, right?
Yeah, I gotta say the most poignant moment was when you see him being helped out of the ring.
Yeah, he got held all the way, even to lift his arms up, they had to help him.
Oh man, and when they're helping him out of the ring and he stops and does his little dance, I thought that was really poignant.
Weren't they holding him and he was...
Yes, yeah, I thought, it's one of those things where I know a lot of people probably like sarcastically laugh at that.
Yeah.
I found it really
I'm
moving.
pretty sure, if you're someone who doesn't know about the history of lucha, you're probably thinking, oh, how funny that little old guy dancing.
Yeah, yes.
The little old guy who can't move is dancing. But then you realize, once you start doing some research, like Rayo de Jalisco was like the big deal in lucha libre.
Exactly.
Probably one of the 5 or 6 most important guys
exactly.
in lucha history. And his son is another one of the top draws in the last couple of years. His son is huge. How the hell I'd like to know who the mom is, man. That's huge. Where'd you think that? I was watching that. My God, he's huge.
Well, maybe Jalisco Senior favorite old school song is "Baby Got Back." I don't know. It's
Universal also. He also gained a little.
Yes,
bit too.
yes.
The match was actually not bad. That match, I was watching.
No, I saw
earlier.
the clips of it.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Rayo and Universal, they can't do so much, but Terrible and Rush were really good. Mm-hmm. They just brawled through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Basically, Terrible and Rush kind of feels like what Paraguayo and Sangre Chicana used to be like, where as soon as they saw each other, they just go at it.
Like it's going to be a long-term marriage.
Beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Niebla, his comedy. Mm-hmm. And Shocker actually showed up and wrestled. What a surprise. He actually worked.
And how was it?
He was really good. He was actually really good in the
Awesome.
match. Yeah, so that was actually a good match. And then the other match, the Galavision match that you watched.
The tournament final?
Yeah, tournament final. The Parejas Increíbles.
I gotta tell you how much I loved that.
You understood the concept, right? It's basically the 2 guys who are rivals.
Yes, they team up. Yeah.
Which I thought was perfect this time around. I hated the tournament, as we talked about the last time. But they actually kind of matched guys perfect. Certain guys were matched perfectly with the rivals. There were a few that they were kind of off. But like Sombra and Volador have been feuding for the last 2 years. And Atlantis and Ultimo Guerrero too for the last.
And you know what I loved in that match is I loved the similar outfits that Sombra and Volador Jr. had.
The skeleton gear.
That came. I don't know what it is about that. That came out so beautifully. Yeah. The only thing I'd do is I think Sombra should go back to his old mask. That showing his bald chrome dome.
I think he does it every once in a while. He uses different ones.
Oh, okay, because that doesn't pull. But that's.
But now you know why Sombra and Volador probably can't drop their mask, because if they do, they don't get any hair match money. They don't have hair.
Now, what I loved about this match is, even though Atlantis and Ultimo Guerrero never look like they're friendly with each other, they make it look like they have this chemistry, this rhythm where they can win. Like it happened earlier in the tournament where
the weird thing is that those two teams, like 3 years ago, that was like a tag team feud. Like back when those two teams were actual regular tag teams, they were like the tag team feud. Yeah. So there's a little bit more of a backstory to it.
When I loved when they got the simultaneous backbreakers going.
Yeah,
that was
Atlantis.
really, really cool. That was.
I always dug that.
And then I love how that was the finish. How it looked like in the final fall, Ultimo Guerrero, had Somber pinned, and at that point, Atlantis picks up Volador in the backbreaker, and in doing that, he trips over Ultimo Guerrero's leg, but it's not just like he accidentally walks over to Ultimo Guerrero. Ultimo Guerrero sticks out his leg. It doesn't look intentional, but that's the point of contention. That causes them to lose, and they kept showing the replay of him stumbling over Ultimo Guerrero's leg. And this is the first time I've been really, really excited about a mask versus mask in a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. We'll talk about that in a bit, because the main event was really good, too.
Tell us about it.
The main event, you haven't watched. It's on. It aired on Fox Deportes. It's on YouTube. But it was Rey Cometa and Stuka Jr. versus Namahagwa and Okumura in a mask versus hair match. Really good match.
Which is, I do want to see the most.
It is really good. I mean, this one, same level of emotion as the other one. And keep in mind, these guys are guys who, like, people aren't really, like, attached to, because the other one, I mean, Atlantis and Ultimo Guerrero, the rumor had already started that they were going to do the mask match before that. So you have all the people, and plus those are the two guys that people there love in Arena Mexico. But these guys were getting the same reaction because it was Mexico versus Japan.
Yes.
Really good match. It was funny because the final sequence of the match is basically it goes I think Stuka Jr. eliminates Okumura. Then Namahagwa eliminates Stuka Jr.
Oh,
but there's like there's a bit of a they do the spot too where they like screw up. And they have like the arguing and stuff of the partners, but when they get eliminated, it leaves Rey Cometa and Namahagwa. And it's funny, Rey Cometa's gonna do his 450 out the top rope, and as he's climbing up, you see Stuka Jr. going, no, don't do it. He's telling the fans, tell him, no, don't do it, and he does it anyways, and he lands it perfectly. I think he's probably like the best guy at landing that move without hurting somebody.
True.
Because he lands on him so perfectly, and he lands, gets the pin, and it's over. And then they unmask. The guy gets, Okumura gets his hair shaved. Do you know what the story behind Okumura's hair?
No.
They start calling it, have you seen coconuts?
Coconuts?
Have you seen the coconuts?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen a coconut, how it has little hair? And
oh, yeah. I thought you were referring to, like, the old Donnie and Marie movie, Going Coconuts, or something like that.
So they start calling Okumura's hair pelos de coco viejo.
Hair of an old coconut?
Old pelos de coco viejo, old guy, old coconut head or whatever. Something like that. And so people started calling him that and everything. So they shave his head. Then they ask Namahagwa his name. And he says it really fast. And they ask him how many years, 5 years. But he's just playing the whole role of being pissed.
Right.
It was a really good movie.
I do want to see that. And I'm really jazzed to see Stuka Jr. put in that kind of spot. There's a guy who I think is generally just so overlooked.
He a guy who has the talent to be a main event guy. Probably like in the third level or against somebody that works with. And that's the thing. They've had him working with the Japanese dudes. He works really well with those guys. Because those guys... Namahagwa is one of those dudes. I think that's the one thing I worry about Namahagwa. He's kind of like Blue Panther, where he's always going to make the other guy look much better than he will look. And I think that's what's going to hurt him in Japan.
Oh.
And in Mexico, it works because they do dives, and he takes the dive, he sells it, he does all this stuff really well, and that's what works with him with Stuka Jr. And then Rey Cometa, I think of all those guys. He's the guy who should actually be like a main event level.
Yeah, and you know how sporadic my viewing is, but a year ago I
didn't even know of Rey.
Exactly.
Really? Wow.
And since then I've just gotten such.
You know the backstory behind Rey Cometa? Used to be in AAA. When he first showed up in AAA was hyping him up as the next Rey Mysterio.
Really?
That's how good they thought he was. 1 year later, they put him in that group with the Forza area, the aerial high flyers type.
Okay.
With Laredo Kid, Aerostar, Superfly, a bunch of different guys. the group ends up like he's in that group for about a year or two. Suddenly, like that group they start phasing out that group. Rey Cometa doesn't get pushed. We get he's got no charisma, which is code for certain bookers not liking the guy.
It's called Stone Cold Steve Austin syndrome.
Yes, and the guy who's doing that is the one who used to complain about that happening in WCW. But we'll talk about that.
I wonder who that would be.
We'll talk about that some other time. I would probably talk about it with him. Then you'd probably have to stand in front of me.
And would you do a hair versus hair with him?
He has none. So,
oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, then he disappeared. Then all of a sudden he disappears. Him and Pegaso. Pegaso was the other guy who was in that group. Mm-hmm. And they end up in the Independents. They go to CMLL. Everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't go to CMLL because they're never going to use you. That you're going to be a mid-carder, which they kind of were. But then, like, right before he got pushed, Rey Escorpion was the one who was getting pushed. He was another ex-AAA guy who got pushed. Then all of a sudden, I guess Rey Cometa probably decided, hey, I'll put my mask in as part of the deal. I'll offer my mask. He gets pushed. People started seeing him like, hey, this guy's not that bad. And look at him now. He's like he's basically a semi-main event guy right now.
I really enjoy watching him.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who AAA kind of... The problem that AAA has that as soon as a new guy comes in, they forget about their own guys. They do this all the time. And it's like, it's a little habit that they have where it's like something, if they only realize that they did that wrong...
It almost seems like it's...
There's a lot of good in AAA, but that's the one thing where they always screw up. Like, they're quick to pass over their own guys.
And that is something that seems almost epidemic in wrestling, especially with larger promotions.
Yeah, it happens even with CMLL. It happens too. Yeah. Like, I'm not just saying it's AAA, but CMLL has some guys who you always look at and they're like, that happens too.
But in this case, in the long run, it's... I'm glad it worked out for somebody.
And that's why I always say it's always good to jump from one promotion to the other. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, if you're not making money in CMLL, you're probably not going to make money in AAA. You might as well jump. I
remember years ago, there's a lot of wonderful things to say to Red Bastien, but I knew several guys who kind of looked at him as their mentor in the early 80s. And these guys were really good workers, but they would only work locally where they lived. And I'd wonder, why aren't they venturing out? And Red's advice to them was, don't go to a territory that doesn't pay well. Yeah. You're supposed to make money in this business. Well, that would be nice if you've already had 20 years experience and have a reputation like you're a Ray Stevens or somebody, but...
Especially back then. I mean, nowadays that's different.
Exactly. Yeah. What are you going to do? You're a great worker, but nobody knows much about you. You're just going to go up and say, hey, give me money, push me. And as a result, these few guys who are great workers just went nowhere. Yeah. And I don't think they ever got it. Yeah. I mean, even as a naive 20-year-old, I was like, what?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the wrestlers, like, even the indie guys, they tell you have to be able to travel. If you can't travel, you might as well not do anything unless...
Oh, yeah, it takes a special attitude. You have to travel. You either have to really save your pennies and eat cheap. I mean, And, that's one of the few negative things I'd say about Red Bastien. That guy was awesome, but that was some advice that I never really understood.
Yeah, and that's why when you see, like, a guy like Tejano Jr., there's a guy, he was fine in CMLL, but I think he had realized he had reached a certain level. Mm-hmm. And look at him now. In AAA, he's basically the guy now in that promotion. He's one of the main guys. I think that's where if you're a heavyweight, you're better off sometimes going to AAA. Mm-hmm. And if you're a lighter weight, you're almost better off going to CMLL.
Very true.
Because, I mean, it takes... In AAA, you're basically just going to do the 6-person matches. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they find somebody else, you're out the door. You're basically not getting booked. And in CMLL, worst case, you're basically working every single show, basically.
Yeah, and in AAA, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like from what I've heard, CMLL, the problem is the bookers, where in AAA sometimes the problem is there's too many bookers. There's too many people wanting to make calls on...
Yeah. Oh, even... Well, that's one of the funny things. When they released one of the cards, lineups, recent lineups. Yeah. And Conan asked on Twitter, hey, it would have been nice to know about this show, like, ahead of time. And I thought, oh, see, it happens to it. I mean, that's the great thing about Twitter. Now you can actually see, like, certain people, like, complain. Yeah. Especially if you're somebody who doesn't mind letting people hear about it.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't affect you.
Yeah, Twitter's cool when you want to let off steam. Some people, they kind of go too far and they compulsively tweet before they should.
Yeah, we should talk about the AAA Rader the Reyes since...
Yes, let's do that.
I don't want to make it sound like I hate the promotion or anything.
And I don't either.
I actually like it. I mean,
I actually like AAA too.
I gotta admit, the Fusion show is probably one of the best shows that Lucha Libre related. It's probably the most enjoyable show out there. The show they're doing now that they're uploading onto their site that doesn't air in not the Galavision one or the Televisa one, but the one that they show on another network. Basically the same thing, except they don't like chop it up as much. It's really good. Like they post it themselves. Let me go look for AAA because I don't remember. There's so many different shows that happen. Yeah, the Rader the Reyes, the big story on that was they actually split up the promotion. They split up they're gonna do a promotion split, kind of like Raw and SmackDown. There's gonna be we don't know a lot about it, but apparently it's gonna be one of these things where one group is gonna be AAA Fusion, which is gonna be run by Joaquin Roldan, and AAA Evolution, which is gonna be run by Dorian, and I guess Conan would be the other person running that group. And the way we kind of interpret it is that the Dorian group is gonna be the U.S. version.
Yeah, which is a really exciting...
That's actually really exciting because they have enough talent now. If you would have told me this like 5 years ago, I would have said, man, they can't split up the promotion because they don't really have that. But now they have enough like headline guys where they could split it up. Because I mean, the rest of the card, you could find indie guys everywhere and fill out the rest of the roster. But I mean, the main event is like the important part, and they actually have enough to do that.
That's going to be really cool. I mean, it's going to be a great experiment. We talked about this on the last podcast. I really hope it works because it's funny how there is such an Americans don't know much about Lucha Libre, but they are really fascinated by it. I mean, I'd say I said this last time. A lot of people, when I was on that cruise to Mexico, wherever we stopped, there were wrestling masks on sale everywhere. Yeah. Last time I had gone on a cruise to Mexico, didn't see one wrestling mask.
Yeah, because people are just really into the whole mask thing and all that stuff.
Yeah, they really love the whole mystique. Thing, And, it's funny, I have a lot of people at work who just, don't know anything about Lucha Libre, but they always have 100 questions to ask. They're intrigued by it. So I hope this comes off. I hope it works.
Yeah. Oh, they announced their first match for Triple Mania.
Yeah.
At that card, at Rader the Reyes. I think what I understood was Paraguayo challenge Cibernetico. That's the bad thing. I haven't watched Rader the Reyes. And I guess they're going to have a hair match.
Ooh, that's going to be nice.
It's great if
I heard about that.
It's great if Paraguayo would have kept his hair long, but because I think that's the one negative where it's like when he had his hair long, it was pretty cool. Like, oh yeah, he's going to put his hair on.
Oh, exactly.
Now it's short. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, they should wait a while on that one. Yeah, in fact.
Well, I mean, maybe he'll grow his hair. I mean, Triple Mania is until like.
In fact, my buddy Humberto even mentioned that the other day. So the word is getting around about the hair match.
Yeah, no, they already announced it. That's been announced. That's been set up.
That's great.
Tejano Jr. defended and successfully defeated Blue Demon Jr. At Rader Reyes. And I guess they're having a rematch. I think today they're having a rematch. Well, speaking of us doing shows at the day of a big show.
Yes.
You can't really plan this stuff because there's a Lucha show every single freaking day. I mean, there's only so many days of the week.
Yeah, we make no promises on this show. We're just gonna we're gonna talk smack, and we hope people like it.
Messias won the Rader Reyes final. They had Kanek reach the finals.
Oh,
Kanek made it, but he's basically just basically can walk in.
I was gonna say
lay down, and that's it. The rest of the match was LA Park and Messias. I'm guessing one of those two guys or both would have to be in the U.S. version.
And is Kanek looking his age? I have not seen him in ages.
Yeah.
I
mean, come on.
It's bound to happen, but...
Plus, he came back from like a torn ACL, I think.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
He had a bad injury. He had a bad leg injury.
Guy.
Yeah, and then Fabi Apache won the Reina the Reyes.
Apache's sister's still my fave. Yeah. God, I love them. They
brought in a bunch of different... they brought in Lufisto. Have you seen Lufisto?
No, I have not.
I think she had like a heart problem.
Really?
Yeah, she had a heart problem like a couple years ago. Yeah. Oh, and the Infernal Rockers beat the Psycho Circus.
I have seen the Infernal Rockers, and
awesome.
I love those guys. God, I love those guys.
Do you know one of my Facebook friends is an Infernal Rocker?
Really?
Yeah.
Point me out.
I can tell you.
No, I'm going to try to friend him, and then I'm going to get a notice from Facebook saying, stop trying to friend people you don't know.
He showed a picture of himself putting on the gear. I don't know if it was him or like somebody took the picture of him putting on the gear. And then all of a sudden it disappeared. It's like, yeah, I think it's him. I don't know if he's still my friend. You know, like in Facebook, sometimes you think they're still there, but they're not there anymore.
And they try to clean up their friends
or
list.
And you don't know if they're still your friend or anything. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So then you have...
The only person I do read on there is Jack Evans. Because he'll talk about some really funny stuff. Like, I guess he's trying to figure out how to get like a poor man's meal. Because I guess he's poor, so he wants to find like...
Oh my god, okay, I gotta friend him then.
I'm You're not friends with Jack Evans?
No, I'm not friends with Jack Evans.
He's got 2 accounts. I'm friends with both of them, I think.
Los Gemelos Diablo.
Yeah, he's
Los Gringos Gemelo Diablo.
He's a funny guy to read, like... Because he's always like very political and stuff like that. Not political in a bad way. Mm-hmm. Political in I can't believe people are taking sides and, you know, like talking about...
Oh, that's cool. Like he's really fresh with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so... Oh, and Phoenix won the Fusion title. So I'm guessing he's going to be in... he'll probably be one of the main guys in the Fusion group, which makes sense. I mean, I'm guessing Fusion... If you split it 5... I guess you would have to put the AAA World Champion in the Fusion group.
Yes.
So Tejano Jr. Mm-hmm. Let me see if you think this would be the right way to split it. We should have done like a mock draft. like you have Tejano Jr. in the Fusion, because he's not really a name in the U.S.
Yeah.
The U.S. group would probably have LA Park. Okay, I'll just pick the 5 in the LA group. Mm-hmm. LA Park, Messias, Blue Demon Jr.
Yes.
Probably Jarrett.
Definitely.
Some way. I'm guessing they're gonna, because Jarrett's not working in Impact or TNA or whatever they're called. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing. I mean, you probably could keep him with them, or you keep him in the Mexican group. I don't know, but I'm thinking the Evolution group, and then probably the 5th person would have to be like a young person. I don't know who, but
that works for me.
Yeah, and then like the Fusion group: Tejano, Phoenix, La Parca, the other one, probably Paraguayo. And Cibernetico, I'm guessing. I'm guessing there's more guys. I'm just thinking Octagon Jr. Octagon. Oh no, we gotta put Octagon Jr. He could be the young guy in the Octagon Jr. if he decides to come back.
Decides to come back.
No, you don't know the story?
No.
They gave the gimmick to Samurai del Sol. You've heard of Samurai del Sol?
Yes, I did.
He's really talented local LA Chicago guy. Uh-huh. He's been working a lot. He just wrestled recently
on the PWG show. Yes,
and that Flight of the Kings of Flight.
The Flight of the Bumblebees.
Kings of Flight or something. Some show that Brian Kendrick booked with all the high flyers.
Okay, yes.
Here in LA,
it was that same weekend as the PWG show.
Yeah, so that's why I was thinking LA. He's from.
In fact, didn't Samurai del Sol he went over totally in that PWG thing?
Really?
I think he.
No,
did.
I think he went. No, it's 2 different things. You're thinking 2 different things. The King of Flight was a tournament at that place that
okay.
Papi Pineda runs.
Okay, I thought I was thinking of the other promotion. I thought PWG.
You notice how I know all these people and none of them know me. Isn't that wonderful? I like keeping it that way. They don't know who I am.
I think you're wise.
I just know them. Like they've met me, but they don't know who I am or anything. He's been working a lot of indie shows in the U.S. and in Europe and stuff like that. But he hasn't been back to AAA since he's been that one show where he was Octagon Jr.
Okay.
And he was supposed to be at Rader the Reyes. He was supposed to be at a show before Rader the Reyes. And then like Dorian apologized for him not being there, for not being at one of the shows. And then you do that look and it freaks me out. So then I guess he wasn't booked for Rader the Reyes afterwards. I think they kind of got pissed at him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so...
No,
I don't know if it was something like them trying, or he couldn't do it. I don't know.
Could be. And no matter how awesome a worker you are, if you're not
if you're
reliable,
not showing up, you can't. And it's like there's so many guys in Mexico they could have given that gimmick to. Mm-hmm. You kind of wonder why not just give it to some guy in your promotion? Just remove them. Give it to the new guy.
Yeah, I mean it's done. It's not like it hasn't worked before.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm kind of wondering if maybe that one dude who got hurt would have been the person that could have given it to him. but then he got hurt afterwards.
The one dude who got hurt?
You know, this dude, Astro de Plata?
Yes, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's paralyzed.
What? I never heard about this.
They did this spot. I can't remember what the spot was, but it's the video's on. I don't even want to watch it.
No, I can't. I don't like to watch stuff like that.
All I know is it was a screw up. The other guy landed hard on him or something, and he broke a couple of his vertebrae.
Oh.
So they did the operation stuff. Well, apparently all these people were running benefit shows for him. And only one of the benefit shows gave him his money back.
Oh my lord!
Gave him money. Everybody else was a scam.
That is so disgusting.
Yeah. So now Hysteria, the CMLL guy, Hysteria.
Yes.
And some other guy are going to run a show that will
legitimately give his money.
Yeah. Because they feel bad because
Jeez, there's a way I could PayPal to them. I'd send.
Well, that's the bad thing. That's what I told people. I go, hey, I even wrote this. I go, the people actually wrote. Actually, not even PayPal. There's different websites online where you could actually loan, like, somebody's broke. They might need like $400.
Yeah.
You could loan them like $400 through the internet, through PayPal or a credit card or whatever payment option.
Yes.
And I was like thinking, why don't you guys use this?
Why don't they do that? It would generate something. I would put the word out.
The only bad thing is they would have to find somebody you could trust. And like, I think there's maybe like 5 people like that I know.
I was gonna say
there's still about 5 people that I know who probably could do it that I would trust. But then like there's a lot of people that you're not going to trust.
That's one common
Wrestlers
bond.
Being one.
Yeah, that's a common bond in wrestling going way back to the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Who can you trust? And there's very few people.
Like the guy who does the artwork for me, Keatis, if he did it, I would trust him.
Yes.
If the guys who I've traded tapes with did it, I would trust them. Some of the guys who I've known through tape trading that became magazine or booking people, a lot of these guys became like bigger names and stuff like that. I would trust them. But like a wrestler,
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Yeah. But I mean, that's one of the things where you don't know. And then there's like they have so many guys like Octagon Jr. They even introduced new Octagon Jr. Parca Negra. It's like, and they can't get Octagon Jr. back. And there's so many guys that they could have given the gimmick to. I mean,
wow.
In their own promotion. I mean, Aerostar, a guy like that, or Superfly, guys. That would have been actually.
And why not just do that? Because they have the copyright, don't they? Or
Billy Boy. They could have given.
Just.
Although Billy Boy's a little too old to be
an Octagon
Jr. Maybe like, hey, I'm Drago.
Yeah, I'm still angry about them.
Ever Ready.
Yeah, I'm still angry about him not being Gato Ever Ready.
You know who you'll enjoy on AAA? This wrestler named they call him Black Mamba. I can't call him Black Mamba because that's Kobe Bryant's nickname, so it's Mamba.
Right.
Okay, because Black Mamba's Kobe Bryant.
Okay,
we're not going to discuss this.
Why can't he be Turquoise Mamba?
Or some other. Why can't she? Why? I say she because it's an exotico. Mamba's an exotico. I mean, these exoticos look practically like women, almost like they're like closely resembling.
Cool.
Like, but really cool. Like he comes out and he dances and does all this stuff, and him and Yuriko have been teaming up, and he's pretty good. He's a good worker.
Oh wow!
You'll enjoy.
I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, Pimpinella. He's like the new group of the new.
That's cool.
New era of and Bungabilia.
I'm glad they're still pushing
There's a couple of guys that are pretty good.
You know, Lucha Libre is just pretty cool up and down these days.
That's the one thing, and that's why I tell you that. That's the problem. Like, it's not that you're like, it's not that I'm being negative to AAA for not pushing certain guys.
Well, and
they're introducing a lot of new guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, like, you yourself as a wrestler need to know. Okay, I think they don't want me here. They can't use me here.
No, you're talking politics that will work in almost any wrestling promotion.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly.
But like maybe in a good way where you're like, hey, would you guys mind letting me go to like CMLL, see if they are interested going there? I mean, it's a mid card guy. It's not gonna It's not gonna kill the promotion. The only difference, CMLL will main event guys like that. They'll actually like push those guys, especially if they give their mask up. They're basically going to be a main event.
In fact, it's funny as we talk about this. Did you hear the Figure 4 show with Tom Pritchard?
Yeah, I think I did part of it.
It's like a must-listen to show. He kind of explains things in a roundabout way, so you kind of have to listen carefully. But he just talks about how sometimes nonsensical the politics of being in a big promotion are.
Yeah.
Working with WWE. And I think part of it was he is scared to mention names and was trying to be cautious about...
He still wants the job, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
the difference between him and Conan will mention names.
Yes.
Which I love about his podcast.
Exactly.
I love that about his podcast. because he'll tell you, like, if he thinks this guy's a dick, he thinks...
Yeah, he cuts to the chase,
yes,
no bullshit.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I mean, even people he works with, he doesn't mind saying things about. I mean...
He's still got a job.
Yes. And those guys still get along with him, because they know he's being honest. I mean, that's who he is. I mean, Teddy Hart and Vampiro are crazy. I mean, they should know that by now. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, but Pritchard, the one thing he did illustrate in that hour-long interview is he does illustrate just somehow how unpredictable and sometimes how nonsensical the booking can be. And I've thought myself, God, if I was ever like running a promotion, I'd never let that happen. But I don't think you know till you're actually running a promotion and you're in the eye of the hurricane. I think sometimes common sense goes out the window, but you don't see it coming. I think it probably happens.
Yeah, because you don't really know what the person's like in real life and how big of a pain in the ass it is to deal with them and stuff like that. So there's that aspect of it. But I mean, either way, I mean, if you're not happy in that place, you got to move.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for everybody.
It's not like everybody. It's not like these guys don't know each other. I mean, there's been so many guys going back and forth over the years. They know each other by now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. Well, other big news is a magazine that's been around.
Oh, wait.
Before we get to that,
we got to talk about the Ultimo Guerrero, the announcement.
Oh, okay, yes.
The Ultimo. They held a press conference. And the big news was Ultimo Guerrero and Atlantis finally agreed to have their mask match. After like 2 or 3 years where people have been like predicting that would be the mask match.
The buzz has been going on.
That is going to be like the biggest mask match since Villano 3 versus Atlantis. I think that's the...
And that's been over 10 years ago.
13 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. 14 basically.
God, remember that?
14, yeah.
Wow. And if they've been purposely putting it off... and if it wasn't just them kind of shrugging their shoulders when we should do that, then I'd have to say that's a stroke of genius.
I think they're going to wait till the anniversary because, I mean, what else?
Oh, I think they should.
They can't do anything else. That's the big match. They have enough. They have enough stuff where they can book good shows for the remainder of the year. Mm-hmm. They're still not going to draw well on certain events. No,
but this one could.
But this is where they're going to make all their money.
This could be their first sellout in the ages.
Anniversary show, and that's what they want. You can't sell out every other show. I think probably in June they'll do some mid-card mask match or hair match, and then they'll do that.
That would be cool.
Anniversary. And they also announced all their tournaments.
Oh, God. Okay.
I think there's one starting next week, I think.
Oh, why do you do that, CMLL?
Actually, it's the Gran Alternativa, the one where they team a young guy and an old guy.
I kind of dig that concept, actually.
And the young guys are actually like a bunch of the... Some of them are good, some of them aren't that good. And then after that, in May, is the En Busca de un Ídolo, which used to be a bunch of young guys. While this year, they're changing it. This year, it's going to be like mid-card guys who haven't gotten a shot.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually pretty interesting.
Kind of like trying to break through the barrier.
Yeah, guys who are trying, like Valiente.
Oh, cool.
Guys who you've seen on main... I mean, some of these guys have been main eventers. But the reason they're doing this is because a lot of these guys aren't... When they book them as main eventers in Guadalajara and Puebla, they don't sell out. So they need... And they're... I think that same weekend that the anniversary show with... the Dos Leyendas show was going on, there was... a lot of shows in the U.S. and in Juarez and other places where they were booking CMLL guys. So I think they want more headline guys. Because I've noticed, like,
that makes sense.
I was doing a little research where I only got to about a month's worth of research because I gave up. Hey, I give up right away. I know when to give up.
We'll call you the king of the tap out.
I know when to give up when they basically, I noticed in a January there were about maybe 30 shows, and there were at least 40 different main eventers on those shows.
Wow.
So it's basically that's why you don't that's part of the problem with following CMLL, that there's so many main event guys. But it's also because they're trying to book all these guys to Japan and all those other places. So it's so that thing is actually going to be pretty good. Guerrero Maya Jr. is in that.
Who is somebody who is one of the best workers in that whole promotion.
Ray Cometa, who
we talked about,
just main evented. Misterioso Jr., Delta, Fuego, Valiente, who I just mentioned, and he's Vangelis. Vangelis, have you seen Vangelis?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he's a really good worker. And actually, you have the channel that actually shows his matches.
Right, exactly. Yes.
WC Deportes.
And I mean, Valiente is somebody you and I have talked about.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, he's basically Super Astro reincarnated.
Totally cool. Totally cool.
The Gran Alternativa has a lot younger guys. Herodes Jr. the guy you haven't seen.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen him.
He's pretty good. He's kind of good, but he's kind of like he's still green.
Mm-hmm.
He has charisma.
He has promise.
Yeah, he has charisma and promise.
Kind of the new Rush.
Yeah, kind of like, but he's not that good.
He's not as good as Rush.
Yeah, some of these guys aren't really good. Like I would say, like of the group that's on that, I think Bobby Zavala is probably the best one, and he might not be the one that wins. Cause one of the other guys is Taurus Jr. or Taurus or whatever. It's Taurus, who's the Ultimo Guerrero's son, and he just won that other thing,
another tournament.
Yeah,
one of many tournaments.
The Sangre Nueva tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, see, it's hard to keep up with this stuff.
Yeah.
They also announced the 70th, or what is it? The 70th anniversary of Arena Coliseo. Which is going to be a show that everyone can watch. I think they can watch on Terra.com on April 7th.
Ooh.
WrestleMania
Day.
Yes.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm not paying $65 to watch WrestleMania.
When you can watch, listen to this. Blue Panther, Shocker Navarro versus Black Terry, Negro Navarro, and Villano 4. That's
Rockin'.
my main
I'm
event.
there.
And there is a slight chance that Sombra and Dragon Rojo might have a title match or some type of match. A title versus title match on that card.
And besides, you can follow what's happening at WrestleMania before it even happens, because Thunder Kitty pointed out something really neat on Facebook, something like, gee, I don't have to watch Raw. All I have to do is look at Twitter and watch all the people bitching about how bad it is.
If you follow me, you'll see how bad. You'll see me complain.
That is so right. Yeah. It's so true.
I don't bitch about it throughout, but I do bring up a lot of the weird stuff that happens. But the thing with WrestleMania, I think there's really only one match. I don't even know if there's one match. I think Undertaker versus CM Punk.
That's the one I want to see most.
I'm kind of offended by it.
Within reason. Yeah, with reason.
I'm kind of offended by it. It bothers me a bit that they're kind of...
With the Paul Bearer?
Yeah, it's kind of going overboard.
It's going overboard. I
don't like Triple H, so I don't really have it.
I don't like Triple H at all, either. So I don't want to see him. I guess the thing is, I picture Paul Bearer liking that they're doing that.
Yeah, but I know, but it just seems...
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah, it just seems...
Yeah, I dig it.
When Triple A was doing that with Antonio Peña's urn, it wasn't as bad as that. And I even joked about it back then. I said, why don't they have the urn win a match or something?
Do a run.
Yes, or do something. And I thought, but I was joking. I wouldn't think that they would do it.
I remember almost 30 years ago when Vern Gagne was increasingly using more old guys like Paul DeMarco and all these old people who not only were past their prime but should not be wrestling anymore. Yes. And I remember talking to Dave Meltzer, and he said, what are they going to do next? Say they're going to bring back Strangler Lewis and George Hackenschmidt, and I'm going, well, they can do it, Dave. What you do is you just have the heel throw the ashes of one of them in the faces of the baby face. Yes. And I remember Dave just saying, that is the sickest thing I've ever heard. But now I can picture people doing something like that. Yes.
I think my joke was, why doesn't Teddy Hart and Jack Evans steal the urn and smoke him? Because remember, there's a movie. There's a movie where they smoke somebody's ashes. I can't remember what it was.
Well, do you remember
Might have been Cheech and Chong.
Well, how about the Keith Richards interview where he says he snorted his dad's ashes?
That too. I think I might have read that, and I was thinking that as a joke, and I thought. But I'm not that. The anniversary show actually looks.
If I could, get my love of coffee into my wrestling persona, then I'd have my character sniffing coffee grounds.
But you watch that one movie with Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr. where they're doing a road trip back to L.A. They're bringing Jack Black's dad in a coffee container or whatever, and they go to this friend's house. And they're drinking coffee, and they're like, where did you get this coffee from? I thought you guys brought it. And I'm like,
oh my god, oh my god. Okay, I gotta. That reminds me.
It's not Jack Black, Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, okay.
Zach Galifianakis.
I'll never forget listening to NPR, and I was. They had an interview with a guy who was I don't know what the title is, but he's a beer specialist, beer historian. He knows everything about beer, and one of the things he loves to do is he likes to find, primitive tribes that I guess all of them have some form of beer that they make, and it doesn't taste anything like the beer we drink here. It's all usually very, very heady and very, varies. He said sometimes it's good, sometimes it really sucks.
Yeah.
But he said one time, they say, today we're making Grandpa's beer. And he said, Grandpa's beer? And they said, and one of them, I guess, asked, would the translator said, they're asking if you would be up to drinking Grandpa's beer. He goes, of course I would, no problem. And he said they look just like so happy, like they're moved to tears, that he's going to drink Grandpa's beer. And so he's drinking the beer, and it's not bad, but it's very chalky and very grainy. And yes, Grandpa passed away. They cremated him, and I guess that was a tradition, is they put the remains of the relatives into the beer, yeah.
That's disgusting. Yeah, that movie, the Robert Downey, Zach Galifianakis.
Okay, got to remember that one.
I can't tell Zach Galifianakis and Jack Black apart. I don't want him as a beer. I don't care.
Just no more Seth Rogen. I'm burnt out on that guy.
Oh, jeez. I can't even
God, I'm so...
I have you watched this show called Comedy Bang Bang?
No, I love the title.
Look it up on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I actually spent like the whole week just watching episodes of that. I think it's only like 12, 13 episodes. And he was one of the guests on the show, and I was like, I think that's the only episode I really didn't want to watch, so I just kept it.
And you know what? At first, I kind of liked him. I dug him, but he gets grating very fast.
Yes, it wears down on you. Like it's like, okay, I think there's certain guys I just can't stand. Him and that one dude who did that one. What's his name? Michael. He's that kid that used to do...
P.S. Michael Hayes?
No, the one who did Arrested Development, that also did Superbad and all that stuff.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Michael, whatever his name is.
He's kind of wore out his welcome, too.
Yeah.
I actually liked him a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, because he does the same character.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, I'll tell you what his name is. I'll look it up.
That's what I love about the computer age. Yes. And while he's looking it up, I want to say hi to Scotty Astro, who I had the pleasure of meeting a little over a week ago. When he came to Story Salon. Michael Cera. Yes. No relation to Scotty Astro, by the way. No relation. Yes. Scotty Astro is a fascinating guy who we have to do...
We like Scotty Astro.
We like Scotty Astro.
We haven't seen him in enough movies where we'll hate him.
Well, he was out here because he was part of a reality series.
Well, then, if we see him in a reality series... Our opinion.
It's fascinating. He's a bird watcher, which is funny. I have another friend who's a bird watcher. I should try to get them to friend each other.
You know the funny thing about wrestling?
Yes.
You find people who have like these other diverse hobbies, not just wrestling.
In fact, Dan Farron even said what would be a fun idea for a podcast would be, I can't remember what he said the title would be, but it was like not wrestling, where a wrestler talks about something else totally unrelated. That's fascinating. Which would be a cool idea. Now, the other big news is a magazine that's been around.
You want to know about Ray Mendoza Jr. first?
No, I don't. He's still Viano Tercero to me.
You don't want to know
Stop
the story
calling
about
yourself
retiring and unretiring about as quickly as any other wrestler in the history?
No. He not Viano Tercero, not Ray Mendoza Jr. We are now going to call him Raymond Funk.
That's still a funny... People were laughing. I mean, I think... I've told you my stories of people asking me to promote shows and stuff like that. But it's like, if you don't have the money, you're not going to...
I know.
You shouldn't run wrestling.
Exactly.
If you don't want to use your money, don't run wrestling.
And you better be prepared to lose money.
Yeah, so it's like, this guy decided to run his own retirement show in a building that basically is booked a lot for wrestling. And he booked all these big names. I mean, he basically booked like guys like... Here, I'll tell you that he booked. Look. I mean, he did a tournament. I mean, come on, you're doing a tournament for your...
That's going to draw well.
Yes. You basically brought in... I mean, his brothers probably work for free, but I mean, you have all the AAA guys. Then you have Mil Mascaras, the Cassandro, Rayo de Jalisco Jr., Solar, Dr. Wagner Jr., Dinamitas.
You have a who's who of veterans.
Yeah, you have a lot. Actually, I'm sure it was a good show. I mean, but they couldn't sell out Gimnasio Juan de la Barrera, which is a AAA building.
How many do you think that seats?
I don't know. That seats a lot more than...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that seats a lot. Actually, you could look it up on... That's a good thing. There's another advantage with...
We can look up how much an arena seats.
Oh, that's...
Yes,
that
true.
is the great thing about now the internet. You could look up all this stuff.
I hear so many people bitching about how everything's so horrible these days and how the economy's bad and...
Well, they have their own Facebook page.
Bitching.
Oh wow! It even tells you how many. 12. Oh, that's how many people have been there.
It seats 12 people.
Yeah. It seats 12 people.
It's a gym.
I didn't finish saying it. I just said it's a. Oh, it doesn't tell you.
We got a sick of 12 metal folding chairs, and we sold out.
That's actually kind of interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but
they have their own.
But in essence, it did not.
We should just stay here and just stare at it.
Yeah, really stare at it.
Silent.
And you
audio.
folks will hear white noise, and we will all be in a zen state of mind. I should learn some mantras to chant.
Yeah, I think it's a building that seats way more than than for an indie show.
Wow.
It's not a indie, because indie promotions, the max you usually get is like 1,000 or 2,000.
I think it would have been almost smarter to find a city where,
you know what?
I mean, even though
honestly, what he should have done, because right now CMLL and AAA are just looking to run like retirement or like other spots.
You should have done it through them.
Actually, AAA probably wouldn't have done it, because AAA, a lot of their non-shows are basically promoted by other people. But CMLL, I mean, you can't tell me they wouldn't have run it in Arena Mexico on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday, that would have sold out Arena Mexico.
It would have.
Not sold out, but at least.
And if you really wanted
3,000 people.
if he really wanted to do it himself with all those old names, find some more obscure place where they don't have as much wrestling, and maybe the whole nostalgia factor. Maybe it'll work, maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that no.
Yeah, I guess he was in the whole $38,000.
Wow.
So he's gonna come back and wrestle the Arena Coliseo. I'm guessing he's not gonna get all the money.
No.
He was on. Somebody posted on a link on Facebook where if you wanted to send money, you could send them money.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh my god, surety. But it's like, again, another thing, like we were talking about the PayPal thing. They don't take PayPal, they take the bank deposit, and it's one of those things where Americans, we don't do that.
We know PayPal. We know PayPal so well.
We know checks.
I bet you they get a chunk of change from people in this country.
People in the U.S. are willing to help. That's the one thing. We're very helpful. People, like even people outside of the U.S., they're always willing to send money.
Exactly.
Like you go on Figure 4 weekly, you'll always see somebody. Oh, this so and so has been contributing to our site for like 5 years, and now he's battling some illness, and he's going to be off work for like 4 months or something.
Yes.
Here's his here's a link to donate. People donate,
and that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
Or the Kickstarter.
Yeah. I mean, well.
Super Luchas.
Super Luchas.
We can finally talk about Super Luchas.
My third try. It works. It works. It's a magazine that's been around for over 20 years. I remember when it first came out, and what I liked in the beginning is it had a lot. It
looked like a newsletter type of like magazine type. It wasn't as colorful as it is now, right?
It was pretty. No,
it was colorful, but I'm saying it looked a little more news like.
Yes. And what I really dug about it was it had a lot of historical features. It didn't have the great historical detail that Boxy Lucha did. They were trying
to be more up to date, like with the American stuff and stuff.
Yeah, they were trying to make it kind of more glossy and. But it was. There's a lot of people said it's going to quickly overshadow Boxy Lucha and the other magazines, and now I think Boxy Lucha is the last man standing.
Still around. Well, actually, Lucha's 2000 is around.
That's still happening.
Yeah, that's still around. You could still get that in that
the Cardenas Marca.
No, there's a place nearby. Not Cardenas. When you're driving up there, there's like a little liquor store. It's not a liquor store. It's like a supermarket on your right side.
Yes, I know that.
That
on Holt, right?
Yeah, right there. If you walk in there, there's a little
cool
newsstand, and there's magazines.
Now,
I don't buy any because I mean there's only so much stuff you can have in a house.
Right, and that's my problem is I have so many wrestling magazines, but I would like to just peruse through Boxy Lucha. The reason
you want to stand there.
And hey kid, are you gonna buy that magazine? And then I say, don't call me kid. I'm 51 years old.
You know what you do is they have like a little like where they make meat and stuff and menudo and stuff like that, or soup. Maybe buy yourself a bowl of soup and stuff. Tell them, hey, I'll buy the bowl of soup
if you let me read your magazine.
And you can just sit there and relax and read your magazine.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, you can do that.
Well, the reason I stopped reading Boxy Lucha, to be honest, was they used to be my favorite magazine. I just loved the great detour, just the dearth of historical information they had. And what I also liked about them, I mean, going way back into the 60s, they were the only magazine that really would cover a lot of the regional shows.
Yeah.
I mean, and cover local stars that were not big stars. Yeah. I mean, you could read about people that you never heard of before, would never hear again, but it was just an interesting magazine to look through. And then I honestly can't remember if it was 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, no, they just became more...
Yeah, they started having, like, the stuff of, like, guys going to Japan. Because, I mean, guys were already...
Yeah.
So you have to hear about, like I heard... Remember I told my joke about reading about the Dudley Boys in Box of Lucha?
Yes.
Baba and Divak.
Right.
Like, Baba and Divak Dudley? Oh, my God. I still have that magazine. And I was like, oh my God, what a typo.
Giant Bubba.
Yeah, I was like how do you... I just remember reading that. I would laugh. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, but... and I also remember they started getting, like... they started printing some historical information that even I knew was incorrect. I mean, when even I recognized, like... historical information is flawed and incorrect, then you know they took a bad turn. They must have changed editors or who knows, but I would like to take a peek at it and just see.
Well, they have their website. I think they don't have
seen the website. Do
they have the website up again? Because I think they only have the forum up.
It seems like whenever I do a search on wrestlers in Mexico, I will eventually get led to the Boxy Lucha website, and I think it
just takes you to the... Is it .com or .net?
That I don't know, because whenever I get led there, it's like through Bing or Google or Yahoo.
It is .com.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah. Oh, they updated it. Yeah,
there
was a period where it wasn't on there for a while.
Yeah, that's where the silly old man in me comes out. Is I still like the feeling of a magazine in my hands.
Yeah. You still get the Observer as a newsletter, right?
Yes, I do.
As a hard copy.
I do, and I prefer reading it.
You and Mark Cole are the only people who get that. Just kidding. Conan, and I was surprised at how many people still get it that way.
I hate having my little iPhone and peering into it, trying to read a whole article.
I've been reading Matisick's book on my iPod Touch.
Still haven't.
And it takes much longer. I'm still on. I'm still on I'm on the part where he's talking about Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, where he says it would be patronizing to have him in the 50 greatest wrestlers.
What?
And I'm like, dude, you have fucking Randy Orton on there. That's the only part that I find
God.
I go, how patronizing is that, Randy Orton? I mean, you don't hear anybody say, "Oh yeah, I emulate Randy Orton as a wrestler."
I know, really. Look, so many people loved Eddie. Steve Austin was a huge Eddie Guerrero fan. Yes. But Brian Pillman, I always heard that Brian Pillman and Steve Austin's favorite match was Love Machine and Eddie Guerrero versus Santo and Octagon.
If you put Jerry Lawler in that spot instead of Randy Orton,
Me too.
And you're saying that's why Eddie and Ray didn't get in? I understand.
That's understandable.
But I mean, you got Randy Orton in there. Come on.
I know exactly. I can't believe I got pissed about this, but it's
now we're back to this again.
Yeah, I know we talked about it last time, but it's one of the few times I think I would have been less.
I think I got to do a podcast where I just talk about that book.
Yeah, and then we can move on. I know.
I think we do have to do that. Our next podcast is going to be Fredo reviews Larry Matisick's book.
Yeah. Well, what we should do is we should find a book we love, a book we hate, trash one, and praise the other. I do want to say the Greg Oliver and Steve Johnson Heroes and Icons book is awesome.
I'm going to tell you this about the book. The first 3 chapters, you could just skip it because it's just him bitching and moaning about Vince McMahon Jr. The whole thing is just him. I mean, but once you get past that, it actually does get pretty good. I mean, he had some pretty good stats in there, like championship, how many days a guy held the championship.
Right.
Which is something I mean, I would probably do some research on that, but it's like, it's not something you're thinking about all the time.
Right.
It's something that you're thinking, I wonder who held the belt for so long. And he actually has that in the book, which I think is great. Mm-hmm. But I mean...
So you do have a good historical information.
I haven't gone through all of it to tell you like a whole review. Because I'm telling you, I read it, I get to a point where I just get pissed at something he writes.
Yeah.
And then I stop.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to stop for a while. Yeah, so back to Super Luchas.
So now, after over 20 years, it is going out of business, and what is the whole story with why and how and...
Basically, I guess they're not making the same amount that they used to off of the magazine. I mean... Everything now is online.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that they were doing it weekly, that's what amazed me, too. Because, I mean, they weren't behind on a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. They were pretty up to date. I mean, worst case scenario, if some news came out the day of the... Like, if they released the magazine on Monday, if news came out on Monday, that's basically what you would miss, or whatever happens during the week. But I mean, they were probably the most up-to-date thing. Like, it was basically an Observer, but in color, basically.
And
even okay, and very not, they weren't saying anything like insider stuff.
Right.
Which is, I first heard about this being a problem like about a year ago, I think.
Wow, this is the first I've heard of it.
Ernesto kind of tweeted us and asked us our advice on what if we thought there was a way a non-kayfabe magazine would work in Lucha Elite in Mexico.
Kind of to do an Observer, but for a bigger audience.
But for Mexicans. And I kind of thought, well, I just thought about it, and I said, well, it could. Mm-hmm. But then I thought, but then you're going to break so much of the secrets of that stuff. That part of me doesn't want that. Like, I've been an Observer subscriber on and off since '98. And I mean, some stuff I learned that I just feel bummed out about. Like, when you get to know about wrestling and stuff like that, you hear some guys, like, I remember the first time I met you telling you about, you told me you wrestled on the show with Chavo Guerrero and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Chavo Guerrero, wow. And I was all excited. You're like, yeah. And you kind of told me the stories about him, and I was like,
yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks for ruining it for me. So you start learning stuff like that, and it's like, you don't want to take away that innocence.
No, I know. I remember that too. I remember my first one was, Dynamite Kid was my hero, and very shortly into it, I said, "Wait, I have no desire to meet my hero," because I knew so many people who knew him firsthand, and said,
I mean, you meet some guys who end up living up to it and being actually really nice people. I mean, but that's when I heard about it. Then I think Dr. Lucha had mentioned that, there was a possibility of that happening. But he kept it quiet. He told us to stay quiet, and we stay quiet. When people tell us to stay quiet, we stay quiet.
Yep, exactly.
There's a lot of stuff we get.
That's smart.
We don't tell. We're not very. But I don't think he expected it to happen this suddenly.
Right.
Because the way he told me, it was still something that Ernesto Campo was still thinking about doing, and I guess it happened suddenly.
Wow.
He went through some issues recently where it's like. It wasn't something he could handle.
Because it just came out of the blue.
Yeah. I think he's still kind of trying to think about maybe keeping it. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I can't remember who I told. I think I told you about this, about websites. How wrestling sites, you don't really have a website that's really well done. Mm-hmm. I think the best one is probably the Observer site.
Yes.
And maybe those sites that we never visit because we might get spyware on our computers.
Right.
We won't. I don't even know what they look like. But I think a lot of those sites, I don't visit them, and that's the difference. You go to ESPN, they have the site. I was telling somebody about this. I go, on ESPN, if you want to know who won, you get that for free. If you want to know what the story is, somebody died, you get that for free.
Right.
If you're going to pay for something, you're paying for the insider information, like who's good, who's bad, insider details, stuff like that. And I actually kind of thought maybe instead of doing the magazine, why not turn the website into something like that?
That's a very good idea.
Subscription based, but
I think it might have appeal.
Yeah, but the problem I think would be that I don't know, a lot of the wrestling people don't like to bring in people to write. You know what I mean? Because I mean,
there's two problems with wrestling that involve both the people involved in the wrestling show and the really hardcore fans. The people involved with the wrestling show don't want to pay people very much or at all if they can help it. And a lot of the hardcore fans somehow think they're entitled and they don't want to pay for anything, whether it's admission to the auditorium.
So you have everybody clashing in that.
Yeah.
Because I remember The Observer, when it first came out, remember I told you, when it went online, the very early one that Brian and Dave tried to, that one that looked all...
Oh, the Iyata.
The Iyata one.
Iyata, yes.
Not the show, but the one that was basically what was paying for it.
Yeah.
That one, the one with the gray background and it looked like something that WCW would have done. Remember that WCW shows always look like robotic?
Yes.
Like in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. I remember telling you, I go, how come Dave doesn't use any of the people who send letters? Remember I was telling you, how come has he ever asked you to write? Yohi, that John D. Williams, guys like that who could write. I never see them writing on that. What you get is these other dudes who you never even heard about.
Exactly, and
so you don't want to pay for that. You don't want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, the dudes on there, I wouldn't pay to read.
So basically,
not that they're all bad, but
they're not known names, and they're basically guys who don't have a background. You know, so I always thought maybe you find that third guy who would help you, and they never did that. I think now they're kind of like they're doing it with the podcast. Like the podcast, that's where they're getting their money. That's where you get your money because you're getting the podcast. But
right.
But again, that's basically Brian carrying the whole thing because Carl Stern has a job. he doesn't.
No,
he
exactly.
I don't think he's making money off of that. I don't think anybody's making.
I think the guy doing podcasts. I don't think they're making a living, but I think they do make some money.
I don't think any of them are getting.
No, some of them mentioned it.
I will bet you.
I'm not going to bet because I'm not that certain.
I will bet you. Knowing those guys, none of those dudes are getting paid.
Because I remember whoever does one of the.
I will ask Brian next time I see him. And you know I would ask him.
Ask the guys who do the show.
Yeah.
I remember one of the guys who. God, was it Mike Sempervive or? No.
I'm guessing the guy. Yeah, but Sempervive, you have to remember, he does a show that's not part of the. He does the radio on that whatever that Sirius radio.
Who are the guys who did who does the martial arts
the
podcast?
Japanese there's two because there's the martial arts. I think that's Sempervive.
Okay, because one of them they said
because the other two are like the Anime and Mike show. I don't think they're getting paid. Well, because they don't do it often. That's why they're not getting.
Yeah, this is like back when I first started subscribing. And well, right now I'll tell you, I only listen to the Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez stuff, and Carl Stern occasionally, and not because I don't like it. It just I only have so many hours in the day to listen to stuff. But I do remember one of the guys on one of the shows that involved.
I'm guessing it's Sempervive, but he's involved in the with the podcast and stuff like that. He's involved. Because I'm talking about like bringing in a guy who can write.
No. That's
and somebody
that
can
is a different thing.
Because I mean, if you hear Brian's podcast compared to ours. It is very professional.
Oh, exactly.
Like ours is just us talking, shooting, bullshitting.
No, his is very professional, calculated. He can conduct an interview.
That's what I'm talking about. Like that, you don't bring in any.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Brian Alvarez, he can conduct an interview with somebody he doesn't know much about and know what questions to ask. Yeah. He knows how to make.
Because he's actually doing research, which we kind of don't.
Yeah, no, he does. He does do research, and he also knows what general questions to ask. To keep the interview moving. Yeah.
And I'm sure he's had shitty interviews in the past too. I mean,
very few though.
No, I'm talking about having a guest that's.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's really hard. I mean.
Oh, the one that was hard to listen to was the Marcus Bagwell one.
Oh, really?
It was the shortest one I ever heard. I want to say it was like around 20 minutes, and it's just because he was so out of it, and it was just really sad.
I always laugh when I hear when I make jokes about Steve if he ever stops doing the podcast. I go, who's he going to bring in? I go to do the lucha portion. I go, Cubs fan would be the obvious guy.
Yep.
But if he actually goes like lower in the level, I'm like, if he gets past Chris Zellner, then he's because I think Chris Z and Cubs, they've done podcasts. They know a little more about doing that stuff.
Right.
But then, like, if you start talking to, like, some of those guys, it's going to end up being, like, the video game review guy. Did you ever hear that podcast?
I did. I actually liked that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I wanted him back.
I always think that would happen with me.
I wanted that guy back. The other one I want to hear again, one of my favorites is Larry Zabisco. Oh my God, that guy's a nut job, and I love it. I could listen to him for hours.
High,
Yeah, that's what's great about it.
Yeah.
He could promote drug abuse if that's what the deal is. Maybe he's just that way organically, naturally, but no matter what, it's like he's awesome.
But see, I think Brian's fine with you being weird or like being out there. Mm-hmm. I think when somebody doesn't want to talk, it's kind of hard to like do the podcast.
No, that is hard. That's where I would not work well as an interview. Is I think he is good at keeping it moving, but I think it would be an exhausting job.
Did you ever hear the Conan interview with Tully Blanchard?
No, I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I've heard about it.
The three guys were just like hating, like they were just like, that was one of the more. It was actually a fun listen because you just hear if you've met Conan, he's like, he's just his reaction to this dude.
You almost wish you could have a video cam.
Yeah, you want it filmed like on YouTube. Like
I remember about 2 years ago, I wrote this to I sent an email to both Brian and Dave because I had the funniest dream. I dreamt that I was watching a pay-per-view. I can't remember if it was WWE or TNA. But for an extra $20, you can have an added feature where there would be there would be video footage of Brian and Dave
watching
the show and cringing and shaking their heads and going, "Oh no, this sucks." And it seemed so real too when I had the dream, and I just woke up just busting up.
I remember when I thought about doing newsletters when I was younger. Before I met you, I think I tried again, like when I met you.
You were talking about it when I first met you.
That I had thought about doing it.
Yes.
And then I remember, like, the reason I didn't do it is because the pay-per-views. Just thinking, why would I want to watch all this stuff? And I had just watched, like, a couple of WCW pay-per-views, like, man, I ain't going to watch this stuff.
It's because, you sit there and say, oh, Brian and Dave, what an awesome job they have. It's a handshake with the devil because... Yeah, you get to see some great pay-per-views, but you have to watch shitty ones, too.
I remember when this happened. It was back when, in 96, the uncensored pay-per-view.
Yes.
Remember, because my aunt and uncle had a black, one of those boxes where you could get the...
Oh, where you can get them for free?
Yeah. And I watched it. Illegal. And I watched it, and I just kept thinking, oh my God, would I really want to write about this every single week?
Oh, yeah. No. The burnout factor would be intense.
I was like, I ain't going to do this. I mean, I probably could do a newsletter, but I would probably just hate watching all this stuff.
It's fun. We do this podcast because it's fun. If we had to do it every single week, every time, and it'd be work.
Yeah.
And I'm a lazy bastard. I'm a son of a bitch.
And there's some stuff I wouldn't mind writing.
I'm a bastard. Not a son of a bitch. I'm just a bastard.
You're just a bastard.
No. My mother was not a bitch.
Yes. Don't.
She was a wonderful person.
The Brown family.
I'm a whore. I'm a bastard. I'm lazy, and I'm proud of it.
That's one of those things where I always found interesting about and that's what I said. I thought, like, I know Dr. Lucha was saying that he thought Brian told him, have Ernesto talk to me, and I thought, well, that's something. But I think Dr. Lucha, the way he explained it to me, the website isn't part of it's not part of the Super.
It's like a separate entity.
I think somebody else has that. From what I don't know if Ernesto owns the name, the site or stuff, but I mean that's what I would do. I mean I would just turn it into the website and like put some of the stuff that you want free, put it on there, and then maybe put podcasts. How hard we can do podcasts?
Yeah, well, and exactly, and also if you're a website of that stature should be able to get sponsors to help defray the costs.
Oh my God, I was looking through it. I mean I think they get like 2,000, 3,000 visitors.
Yeah, like you should be able to.
I don't know how often. Actually,
you should be able to get a sponsor for something like that.
Yeah, it was something like where you're just looking at it and you're like, how is this website not? It's not like my site where you're like thinking, 200 people are showing up and reading it. You're happy with 200 people reading it, but it's because I don't update that often either.
I update more than a lot of sites do. Yeah, you're a lot more consistent.
Not as often as the Cubs fan, man. That dude's crazy.
Yeah, that's like continuous. I mean, the frequency which he and Chris Zellner post stuff is...
That Chris Zellner doesn't work out. Oh, for my site. Chris Zellner's on my site.
Right, yes.
Don't confuse Chris Zellner and the Cubs fan. That's the last thing.
No, I didn't confuse them. Two very different...
Oh, yeah, I was actually amazed. I could tell when Chris has a little bit more free time, because lately he's been sending like 3 or 4 updates. But then sometimes he'll send like 1 or 2. I'm like, he must have a busy week. But it's fine, because it's also a slow week in Lucha. And then when he does like 3 or 4, I'm like, damn, dude, slow down. Well, that's the funny thing. When I used to write for this other website, the guy told me, he's like, everybody loves what you write. It's like, but I wish you would write more often. And I'm like, dude, this was back in 2000.
Right.
There was nobody posting news.
Oh my
Lucha
God.
News. I'm like, dude, what you see is what you're going to get from me.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, it's worth $184,000.
Oh, is that the...
According to this site.
Yeah, I'm almost scared to think what...
They make they could make $253 daily.
I bet mine was, but when I did standtheembryo.com, I bet that was worth like $1.25.
The weird thing is, there used to be this. When I first started my website, I used to be obsessed looking at that stuff. When it first came out, they started not.
It's kind of like the Zillow of
it became
internet
like the
sites.
Alexa sites and stuff like that. You would see how much sites were worth.
Yeah.
So you'd go and stuff and you'd be like, oh my God, this guy's site is worth like $7,000, and he's not doing anything with his website. I would laugh, and it's like it really isn't what it appears to be.
Well, same with Zillow. A lot of those real estate prices are inflated, from what I understand.
Yeah. Because apparently it says that they get where does it say that they get their views? They get 6,930 unique visitors per day.
Ah, very cool. That's worth some sponsors.
That's like, fuck, I should buy it.
Yeah, there you go.
There. We'll put our podcast.
We'll now be Super Luchas
World.
Super Lucha World. I like that.
Super Lucha World.
We're not just Lucha World anymore. We are Super Lucha World.
Yeah. I actually told Dr. Lucha when he was telling me about that, I go, ask him how much he'll sell it for. I go, maybe we'll go halves. I was telling him, let's go halves and sell and do the magazine. I go, you Cubs fan, write everything, and I'll just like put the pictures and.
That's right. And I'll have a weekly column talking about what I don't watch.
Yeah.
I didn't watch WWE this week, which is cool because it's not Lucha.
Yeah. Well, actually, they write a lot about WWE in Japan, so it's like...
Well, then I'd be perfect for that, saying, yes. I didn't watch Raw this week.
I didn't watch anything from Japan either.
Yeah, but I saw a lot of people tweeting about it.
They should have like a page just on Twitter or stuff like that.
I'm surprised they don't, actually. Yeah. Well, we covered a lot of ground. This has been really fun.
Oh, did you want to talk about Masquerita Dorada going to WWE?
Oh, yeah. We can't close out before that.
We'll close out with Masquerita Dorada. Yeah. Apparently he's going to WWE. I think 2 weeks ago, Meltzer mentioned a mini was working in developmental. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh, a Mexican mini is working in developmental. We thought,
But it wasn't just any Mexican
it was Masquerita Dorada.
One of the finest.
He did an interview with Luchas 2000 where he mentioned that he had actually reached an agreement with WWE, mm-hmm. and he was going to be heading out, which I guess he's now there. He doesn't know what he's going to do.
Wow, I'm curious what the plans are, or if there are plans.
You know what's amazing is they're basically bringing in arguably one, like outside of Rey Mysterio, and I guess maybe Mascara Dorada, mm-hmm. one of the most spectacular workers in the business, and they're probably gonna have him do like comedy.
Oh yeah,
stuff and like have him like getting like bounced off and thrown into like.
Oh totally, they're gonna have
him feud with Hornswoggle.
Yeah, exactly.
Hornswoggle's gonna turn into a racist. He's gonna join Zeb Coulter and
he's gonna be mini Zeb Coulter.
Yeah, and then Masquerita Dorada's gonna be Ricardito Rodriguez.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord!
That's going to be one of those weird things.
And I could just picture. Wait, you're a mini. No, you're not supposed to fly. You're supposed to run in circles and bite the referee in the butt and pull his toupee off.
I wrote. What's next, Super Porky? Remember they had him at all day.
Yes, I remember that.
Eating a piece of ham.
Oh boy!
And that made him basically a star for WWE fans. That's like. People remember him as the guy who was eating pork, ham, or whatever he was eating.
It was a big old ham.
Yeah, that's actually one of the highlights of.
Amazing.
That's a good way to end Super Porky.
That is Super Porky. Super Porky, eat that ham. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a totally bitchin' week. Hare Krishna to all of you. And this is Vandal Drummond, who ruins the Spanish language perfectly. And Alfredo Esparza, who speaks the Spanish language perfectly. And since I'm starting to stammer all my words, I will sign off here. We will see you next time, comrades.